The U.S. and Iran have been locked in a shadow proxy war for years, but now there are worries this latest action could lead to direct conflict. On Thursday, top Iranian General Qassem Soleimani was killed by the U.S. in a targeted attack. President Trump says he ordered the general killed.
We took action last night to stop a war. We did not take action to start a war.
Joining us now from Ottawa to speak more on this is Matthew Fisher, a commentator for Global News. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning.
All right, let's begin with your reaction when you learned that Soleimani had been killed in this targeted attack.
I guess the first word that came to mind was finally. This fellow has been out there murdering people all over the place, fomenting wars, planning terrorist attacks for years in many countries. He operated with impunity because he had protection as an official of the Iranian government. A lot of American presidents have talked about going at Iran's leadership, including Barack Obama most recently, but right back to the time of Jimmy Carter. And of course, Donald Trump has said as much. But with President Trump, we know a lot of it is bluster, huffing and puffing. Well, finally, he came through and did something. And of course, it's upset and scared an awful lot of people because Iran will take revenge. There can be no doubt about that.
And can we talk a little bit about that and what the fallout might be following this? A lot of people anxious, wondering what is going to happen next.
Well, and I can crystal ball it forever like everybody else. And it's hard. They have so many different options. They can attack shipping in the Persian Gulf, the Iranians. They can try to destroy the Saudi oil refineries. They've had some success doing that before. They can have their allies, close allies in Lebanon, Hezbollah, launch another barrage of rockets on Israel. They can get Syria's Bashir al-Assad, to do more there to kill and cause trouble. In Iraq itself, of course, it's easy to stir up the Shia militias, and the Shias are a very large minority in Iraq and have a lot of money. And then beyond all of that, they can conduct global terrorism. And they've done this before with murders as far away as Argentina and Germany. Europe is vulnerable. It has open borders. It doesn't have the security apparatus or the oceans protecting it that we do in Canada and the United States. So there's a buffet table of ways they can get back. They could go after the U.S. Navy. It's dangerous to go toe-to-toe with the Americans militarily, but they do have some very good Russian anti-ship missiles. They can hit tankers or warships. Canada does not have a warship there in the Middle East now, although it often does, and they could go after them with these missiles. Lots of options. So
let's talk a little bit more about this. Americans are being told to leave Iraq, but what does this mean for the Canadians there as well?
Well, I think it's clear that it is a more dangerous place for Canadians. Now, those few hundred Canadians who are training in Iraq, that mission, by the way, has been suspended temporarily by NATO, probably a prudent measure while they get the lay of the land, the new lay of the land. It's commanded by a Canadian. My understanding is the Canadian troops will stay put for now on their bases, but they live and work on pretty secure bases anyway. Other than some special forces soldiers, we don't really know what they do. There are not many of them, but they're operating outside the wire, if you like. But if anybody can take care of themselves militarily, it will be those troops. Those are the very, very, very best that Canada has. But other Canadians are vulnerable. Oil workers, there are quite a few Canadian oil workers in Iraq, for example. There are Canadian oil companies there. They don't have the security apparatus protecting them that soldiers do. They're a soft target. Tourists, quite a few Canadians go to Dubai on holiday. The UAE has very bad relations with Iran. They might be vulnerable. And frankly, anywhere in the world Canadians go, they're at risk perhaps of terrorist attacks. I'm not sure we're going to see something terrible in the next few days, although there may be one or two demonstrations of what Iran thinks it can do, what it wants to show the world it can do. I think this is going to play out over a long time. But a shoe has finally dropped. The world's #1 terrorist. He made Osama bin Laden look like small potatoes, frankly. The world's top terrorist is dead, and there will be implications for a lot of people. Iran is a regime that goes out all the time and takes revenge for all kinds of things. This is the ultimate, the second most important figure in the country, and a man who's hugely popular, a man who operated with impunity all over the place, and suddenly he is dead. And the shocks, the aftershocks, the blowback is going to be felt for quite a while, I think.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Matthew.